To call this meeting to order, and we're going to have Cassandra lead us in the pledge and Mr. Menlove in the invocation.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our kind and gracious Heavenly Father, we bow our heads before Thee at the beginning of this Board of Supervisors meeting. We are grateful for Thy blessings. We are grateful for Thy tender mercies that those that are in need can receive Thy blessings. We're grateful that we can meet this morning, that the Board of Supervisors can meet this morning. We pray for Thy guidance, Thy direction, that we may do all in accordance with Thy will. Pray for those that are less fortunate, that they might be blessed, and that we may be observant and willing and able to help those that are in need. We ask this prayer in the name of Thy beloved Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Well, welcome to a new fiscal year. And we have a lot of business to conduct this morning, so we'll get started with Item 2A, information, discussion, and action to adopt resolution number 24-07-03 to name West Tumbleweed Lane in the Young area. We have Tom Homan.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Once again, we've had some land splits and up in the Young area this time. The residents were the ones that picked the Tumbleweed Lane road name, since it does not conflict with any other road name within the county. We were amenable to it, and I'll answer any questions.
Thank you. Supervisor Humphrey?
I have no question.
Supervisor Klein?
Neither do I. Thank you, Tom.
Yeah, thank you, Tom. With that, I'll call for a motion.
Public hearing, sir.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right, public hearing. So with that, I'll call for anyone in Globe? No? Payson?
No, sir.
And Cassandra? No, okay. I'll close the public hearing portion and call for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to adopt resolution number 24-07-03. And I'll second that, Mr. Chair.
Okay, motion to approve and second. Those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. And item 2B, also public hearing, information, discussion, and action to consider a liquor license application. The number LL-24-01 submitted by Jeffrey Miller for an owner transfer with an interim permit to operate for a Series 010 beer and wine store liquor license at Jake's Corner General Store, located, I'm sure, in Jake's Corner. It says Payson though, and issue a recommendation to the Arizona Department of Liquor Licenses and Control whether the license should be granted. And Samantha?
Thank you. Good morning, Chairman and board members. As stated, this is an owner transfer with an interim permit to operate of a Series 10 beer and wine store liquor license for Jake's Corner General Store. The county does have an internal review process whereby the treasurer reviews the application and ensures that the applicant is current on all property tax payments for all properties owned in Gila County. The Health Department and Building Permitting Department both review the application. To date, there have been no issues reported for Jake's Corner General Store. The clerk of the board's office recommends to proceed with the public hearing, and I can take any questions.
Okay, thank you. Supervisor Humphrey?
I have no question.
Supervisor Klein?
Neither do I. Thanks, Sam.
Neither do I, so I'll open it up for public hearing. Anyone in Globe? No. In Payson? Doesn't look like it. And
No, sir.
okay, thank you. Not on the internet. So I'll close the public hearing portion and call for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll make the motion to recommend that the Arizona Department of Liquor Licenses and Control approve the liquor license application submitted by Jeffrey Miller for Jake's Corner General Store.
Mr. Chair, I'll second that.
Good. We have a motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. And now we'll move on to item 3, our regular agenda items. 3A, I will call for a motion to recess as the Gila County Board of Supervisors and convene as the Gila County Library District Board of Directors.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
I'll second that.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we have information, discussion, and action to approve library service agreements between the Gila County Library District and the following entities. The City of Globe, $131,900. Town of Miami, $61,300. Town of Payson, $275,300. Tonal Basin Public Library, $84,000. Isabel Hunt Memorial Public Library, $127,300. And Pleasant Valley Community Library Board for the Young Public Library, $65,700, all of which will begin on July 1, 2024 to June 30, 2025. Good morning, Elaine.
Good morning, Chairman. Good morning, Supervisors. I bring to you today 6 of our 8 library service agreements. The San Carlos agreement will be presented at a later time, and the Hayden Service Library agreement will follow this one. These are our annual contracts which facilitate funding and resource sharing to provide library services to citizens in the Gila County. And I will answer any questions.
Thank you. Supervisor Humphrey?
I have no questions.
Supervisor Klein?
I don't either. Thank you, Lane.
Yeah, thank you. I have no questions. So with that, I'll call for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll make the motion to approve the library service agreements with the City of Globe, Town of Miami, Town of Payson, Tonal Basin Public Library, Isabel Hunt Memorial Public Library, and Pleasant Valley Community Library Board as presented.
Mr. Chair, I'll second that.
Motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Thank you. Item 2B is information, discussion, action to approve a library service agreement between the Gila County Library District and the Town of Hayden for the Hayden Public Library in the amount of $59,750 for the period of July 1, 2024 to June 30, 2025. Elaine.
Thank you again. This library service agreement is for the Hayden Public Library, which we currently run as a branch. This agreement provides the same funding as the other 7 libraries with the inclusion of staff who are current county employees, monthly utilities, programming, and collection support. The Town of Hayden provides the library building free of charge to the library district and is responsible for maintaining and ensuring the library premises. I'll answer any questions.
Thank you, Elaine. Supervisor Humphrey.
I have no questions.
Supervisor Klein.
Neither do I. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. With that, I'll call for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the library service agreement for the Hayden Public Library as presented.
And I will second that.
Okay, motion and a second to approve. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Thank you, Elaine. I will now call for a motion to adjourn as the Gila County Library District Board of Directors and reconvene as the Gila County Board of Supervisors.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
I'll second that.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Thank you. Item 3C, information, discussion, action to ratify the Board of Supervisors' approval for the submittal of the Arizona Criminal Justice Commission fiscal year 2025 Drug Gang and Violence Crime Control Grant application. Approve the ACJC fiscal year 2025 Drug Gang and Violence Crime Control Grant Agreement number DC-25-023 in the amount of $91,758.81 for the period July 1, 2024 through June 30, 2025, and authorize the board chairman to electronically sign the agreement. Mr. Alba.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. The County Attorney's Office is requesting that the Board of Supervisors ratify its prior approval for the submission of the grant application and approve the grant agreement between the Gila County Attorney's Office and the Arizona Criminal Justice Commission in the amount of $91,758.81, which is the amount received by Gila County from the Criminal Justice Commission. This is part of a federal appropriation that Gila County has received since the mid-1980s and provides valuable funding for drug and gang activity within Gila County.
Thank you very much.
Take any questions.
Okay, Supervisor Humphrey.
I have no questions.
Supervisor Klein.
Neither do I. Thank you, Joe.
Yep, thank you, and with that, I'll call for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to ratify the Board of Supervisors' approval for the submittal of the Arizona Criminal Justice Commission fiscal year 2025 Drug Gang and Violent Crime Control Grant application. Approve ACJC agreement number DC-25-023 and authorize the board chairman to electronically sign the agreement.
And I'll second that, Mr. Chair.
Motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Thank you. Item 3D, information, discussion, action to approve the submittal of the county trial court's fiscal year 2025 field trainer grant application in the amount of $25,000 to the Arizona Supreme Court Administrative Office of the Courts. And we have Mr. Barrett.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Before you today, as you stated, is the court's annual grant application for $25,000 to contribute to the cost of the field trainer position. The field trainer position handles continuing education and training requirements for all court employees as mandated by the AOC. Travels out to Hayden, Winkleman, Globe, and Payson on a monthly basis to support municipal court operations and works to roll out new automation initiatives for Superior Court, like digital evidence, which is currently underway. And with that, I can take any questions.
Thank you. Supervisor Humphrey.
Mr. Chair, I have no questions. Thank you.
Okay. Supervisor Klein.
I don't need a thank you, Jonathan.
Yeah, thank you. And with that, I'll call for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll make the motion to approve the submittal of county trial court's fiscal year 2025 field trainer grant application to the Arizona Supreme Court Administrative Office of the Courts as presented.
Mr. Chair, I'll second that.
I have a motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
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 Thank you, John. Now we begin the portion of our meeting that focuses on Carrie. Item 3E, information, discussion, action to approve an intergovernmental agreement between Gila County for and on behalf of the Gila County Sheriff's Office and the Tono Apache Tribe by and through the Tono Apache Tribe Police Department for access to law enforcement-related information systems. Good morning, Carrie.
Good morning. Good morning, Chairman Christensen and board members. I'm pleased to present the intergovernmental agreement, IGA, between Gila County and the Tono Apache Tribe Police Department. This agreement facilitates connectivity between the Tono Apache Police Department and the county, allowing seamless access to the Spillman module. Additionally, robust security measures have been implemented to ensure both entities remain secure over the VPN connection. The IGA will, for the connectivity, the Tono Apache Police Department will establish a connection with Gila County, enabling effective data exchange. The Spillman module access. Through this agreement, the Tono Apache Police Department gains access to the Spillman module for enhanced law enforcement capabilities. Security measures, stringent security protocols are in place to safeguard data during transmission over the VPN. Auto renewal, the agreement will automatically renew annually unless either party chooses to cancel. I can answer any questions you may have, and Sergeant Labonte is in Payson. He can answer questions for the Sheriff's Office also.
Thank you. Supervisor Humphrey.
Is there any cost to us for this?
No, sir.
Okay. No further questions, Mr.
Okay.
Chair.
Thank you. Supervisor Klein.
Jerry, what have we done in the past? Do you know?
As far as agreements,
No, as far as communications and being tied in with them.
Cole, would you?
So this agreement is just to formalize a partnership that we've had that's been more of a handshake deal for several years between these different agencies. We've in the past had kind of like a one-page memorandum of understanding. We're going to provide these things to you. You're going to make sure that your people that are accessing the system are held accountable if they do something they shouldn't. And it dawned on us recently when we had an issue that we needed to be much clearer and have a much better agreement. So like any good relationship, clearly defined expectations are important. So Carrie set out to create this agreement to make it a much more encompassing and understanding agreement versus what we had before. But this doesn't change any of the connections that they have or give them any more or any less access to the system.
Okay, thank you. That's good.
Okay. I don't have any questions, so I'll call for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve an intergovernmental agreement with the Tono Apache Tribe as presented.
And I'll second that.
Motion and a second to approve item 3F. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Thank you. And the next one's very similar, just a different agency, information, discussion, action to approve an IGA between Gila County for and on behalf of the Gila County Sheriff's Office and the Town of Miami, by and through the Town of Miami Police Department for access to law enforcement-related information systems. And I would think, Carrie, you could be more abbreviated with your presentation as we go through, if you'd like to.
Okay.
Okay.
Did you skip?
Mr. Chairman?
I think you skipped one.
We skipped one, yeah.
The City of
Skip
Globe.
Globe, okay.
Yep.
Can we address item 3G then,
Yes.
right now, since I've already read it?
Okay, this is, good morning again. This is an IGA agreement, the intergovernmental agreement between Gila County and the Town of Miami. The agreement facilitates the connectivity between the Town of Miami and the county for access for the Spillman module for them. In addition, it gives robust security measures to implement it to secure over the VPN connections. So we can answer any questions you may
Okay,
have.
thank you. So Supervisor Humphrey,
I have no questions.
Supervisor Klein.
And neither do I. Thank you, Carrie.
Okay, so we're going to be voting now on item 3G. Previous to that, we voted on item 3E. I got a little out of order here. So with that, I'll call for a motion on item 3G.
Mr. Chair, I'll make the motion to approve an intergovernmental agreement with the Town of Miami as presented.
I'll second that.
A motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
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 Thank you. We will now address item 3F, information, discussion, action to approve an IGA agreement between Gila County for and on behalf of the Gila County Sheriff's Office and the City of Globe, by and through the City of Globe Police Department for access to law enforcement-related information systems.
Good morning. This is another intergovernmental agreement between Gila County and the City of Globe. The agreement facilitates connectivity between the City of Globe and the county, allowing seamless access to the Spillman module. Additionally, robust security measures have been implemented to ensure both entities remain secure over the VPN connection. I can answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Supervisor Humphrey.
I have no questions.
Supervisor Klein.
Neither do I.
And I'll call for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the intergovernmental agreement with the City of Globe as presented.
And I'll second that.
Motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Thank you. Item 3H, information, discussion, action to approve an intergovernmental agreement between Gila County for and on behalf of the Gila County Sheriff's Office and the Town of Hayden, by and through the Town of Hayden Police Department for access to law enforcement-related information systems.
So this is another intergovernmental agreement between Gila County and the Town of Hayden. This agreement facilitates connectivity between the Town of Hayden and the county, allowing seamless access to Spillman module. Additionally, robust security measures have been implemented to ensure both entities remain secure over the VPN connection. I can answer any questions.
Thank you, Carrie. Supervisor Humphrey.
I have no questions.
Supervisor Klein.
Thank you, Carrie.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you for doing all this. With that, I'll call for motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll make the motion to approve an intergovernmental agreement with the Town of Hayden as presented.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve item 3H. Those in favor say aye.
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 Thank you.
Carrie, very much. All right. Now we'll move on to item 3I, information, discussion, action to adopt the proposed fiscal year 2025 salary plan not to exceed 1.2 million for general fund salaries and employee-related expenses. Good morning, Maren.
Good morning, Mr. Chair. Good morning, Supervisor Humphrey, Supervisor Klein. We discussed this briefly when you adopted the tentative budget, and we wanted to bring you some details so that you and all the staff are aware that we are proposing a base 3% salary increase for all regular status non-elected county employees, or a $2,080 salary increase for those for whom 3% would be that or less. This does not apply, this $2,080 does not apply to those covered by a STEP program. STEP program employees would receive the 3% so that the steps remain 2.5% apart as originally adopted by the Board of Supervisors. There are elected official salary adjustments that are statutory that will occur in January. And we are also requesting an additional 2% capacity for merit-based pay increases in January 2025. And you can see in the chart here that we expect the July 2024 implementation to include $765,399.39 in general fund salaries, $376,987.76 in special revenue salaries, and anticipated employee-related costs to go with those of $301,846.12 for a total of $1,444,000, which is well within the $1.2 million that we are requesting for the general fund maximum.
Thank you, Maren. Supervisor Humphrey.
I have no questions, Mr. Chair.
Supervisor Klein.
Where's that gonna bring us, Marin, as far as bringing our salaries up compared to inflation today? Are we close?
So we are familiar with the inflation rate that the feds are using to implement in Social Security and other areas, and that is right around 3.6%. Most of the people receiving the $2,080 are getting closer to a 6% raise because of how it shakes out with their salaries. And with this, the minimum salary for our current staff would be $17.24 an hour, which is $35,864, compared to our overall minimum hourly wage for that very beginning point, and we don't have anyone at that currently, would be $15.50.
And how many people do we have in a STEP program? Do you know off the top of your head?
I did. That knowledge may not have stayed in my head. I believe it's about 150.
Okay.
I'd have to look for sure. I can email each of the supervisors' administrative staff with that information.
Thank you, Marin.
Thank you, Supervisor. Maren, I have a question. So on the
Sure.
$2,080, approximately, how many employees would that be?
It's about 2/3 will
Really?
receive that increase.
Wow, okay, that's a significant
It's
number.
most of them.
Right,
Right, and we have 600 budgeted positions. Not all of them are full. So this does a good job in taking care of the vast majority of our staff, and it also ensures that it more than covers any increase our staff would have experienced in the increases for health insurance premiums.
okay, and then I'm confused. Your
Sure.
numbers, I'm sure, are impeccably perfect, but I don't know, it says 1.444 million, and we have a 1.2 million. What's the difference?
So the 1.2 million is the maximum that the general fund could absorb. The 1.4 includes those special revenue funds.
Okay.
We have 33 general fund departments and 75 special revenue fund departments. So because we based the 1.2 on next year's increased property tax levy based on the increased value of properties, we chose to present this to you as not exceeding that amount so that you and our constituents can be assured that it is a sustainable ongoing source of revenue and not one-time money where you'll have to come up with another resource next year.
Very good. Thank you for all your work. That's all I have. If there's nothing else, I'll call for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to adopt the proposed fiscal year 2025 salary plan as presented.
Mr. Chair, I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second to approve. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Thank you, Maren. And next, we have item 3J, information, discussion, action to approve an intergovernmental agreement with the Hells Gate Fire Department whereby Gila County government will sell 9 vehicles as listed in the IGA to the Hells Gate Fire Department for the price of $1 each. Maren.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Chair, Supervisor Humphrey, Supervisor Klein. The Gila County Sheriff's Department and the Hells Gate Fire Department collaborated on this particular item. Hells Gate Fire needs old vehicles that don't have any value to them to use for training purposes. Their training class is at the end of this month, and we'd like to bring you this today. These are surplus vehicles from the impound yard that have no tangible value to the county, and only the Board of Supervisors has the ability to let go of surplus assets. So we are here this morning to ask you to rehome these to Hell's Gate at a cost of $1 each.
Thank you. Supervisor Humphrey.
I have no questions.
Supervisor Klein.
So these are for training purposes, Mary?
Yes. I suspect that means they'll be setting them on
Demolished.
fire, using jaws of
Yeah.
life, the various things that you can't learn in a classroom, that you need the hands-on
We
experience.
should have
to
included some
work
dump fees after this is done, right?
with. I'm thinking cold beer after this is done, but sure.
Thank you, Maren.
Yes, thank you. And I think it's important to know that these vehicles may not have, they may have more than $1 value, but in working with some of our other people in Gila County, other agencies, et cetera, that this becomes a valuable thing
Correct.
for them, rather than try and capture whatever minimal amount that they would actually auction off for.
Right, they are not currently operational vehicles.
Right. Okay.
Right.
All right, so with that, I'll call for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll make the motion to approve an intergovernmental agreement with the Hell's Gate Fire Department as presented.
Mr. Chair, I'll second that.
Okay, motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Thank you, Maren.
Thank you.
Item 3K, information discussion action to approve agreement number 06112024 with the Humane Society of Central Arizona for the period of July 1, 2024 through June 30, 2025. Well, good morning, John.
Good morning, Chairman, members of the board. This impound agreement is with the Humane Society of Central Arizona in Payson. They provide shelter services for our stray animals that are brought in to the northern part of Gila County. They hold these animals for us until one of my officers can pick it up and transfer the animal down here to Globe for their stray hold. We've been doing this for the last 3 years now, and it's worked perfectly. We haven't had no issues. The Humane Society will call us and let us know that they'd have picked up one of an animal in the county or something was dropped off to them, and we will respond within 30 minutes. We have had no issues with that this year, and I'll entertain any questions.
Thank you. Supervisor Humphrey.
Yeah, John, I have no questions. Just thank you for all you're doing with animal
Appreciate it.
control.
Thank you.
Supervisor Klein.
Same with me, John. It's good.
All right, thank
So
you.
thank you.
Yeah, thank you, John. I have no questions. It's working out much better than, I think, the agreement we had before. But anyways,
Yes, it is.
great. With that, I'll call for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve agreement number 06112024 with the Humane Society of Central Arizona Incorporated as presented.
And I'll second that.
Motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
3L, information discussion action to approve amendment number 1 to an IGA contract CTR 067227 with the Arizona Department of Health Services to increase the price sheet for personal and employee-related expenses for the period of October 1, 2023 to September 30, 2024. We have Paula.
Good morning, Chairman, members of the board. This is our WIC funding that we actually realized early on this last year that we were not going to meet our salaries. And thank you for the increases, that's great, but the grants don't always look at the increases for us. And actually, we went back to the Department of Health Services, and they were actually very diligent in looking at what we were needing in the upcoming years if they wanted us to continue WIC services in Gila County. And it's absolutely a vital program, so they did come back to the table and they brought this with some more employee-related money so that we can pay our employees and continue to give them the raises that you're so graciously approving. So we ask that you approve this so that we can pay our staff members.
Okay, great. Thank you. Supervisor Humphrey.
I have no questions.
Supervisor Klein.
Thanks for doing that, Paula.
Yeah,
That's good.
So we're
they
just
forget.
Yeah.
extending it a couple of more months, right?
Yes.
Okay, with that, I'll call for motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll make the motion to approve amendment number 1 to the Arizona Department of Health Services Intergovernmental Agreement, contract number CTR 067227 as presented.
Mr. Chair, I'll second that.
Okay, motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. 3M, information, discussion, action to approve an independent contractor agreement number 070120024-25 between Wildfire and Gila County Public Health and Community Services Department Community Action Program, whereby Wildfire will administer funding in the amount of $282,024, which will be used to provide weatherization services, utility repair, replacement, utility deposits, bill assistance to eligible citizens residing in Gila County for the period of July 1, 2024 through June 30, 2025. Paula.
Thank you, Chairman. That said it really all of it for us, and I know that we put a very long motion in for you, but it is just extending this contract for another year. You will notice that they are no longer going to be considered, they're not going to use, Wildfire will be its name. They used to be, as known as the association. So now they are just Wildfire, and it's just extending for another term.
Okay,
So,
thank you. Supervisor Humphrey.
I have no questions.
Supervisor
Good,
Clinton.
Paula, thanks.
Yeah, thank you. I'll call for motion then.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the independent contract agreement, contract number 07012024-25 with Wildfire as presented.
And I'll second that.
Motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Paula.
Thank you very much.
Item 3N is information, discussion, action to approve an IGA agreement between Gila County and the Arizona Department of Forestry and Fire Management for an effective term of 10 years from the date signed. Good morning, Carl.
Morning, Chairman and members of the board. So this is an agreement between Gila County and the Department of Forestry and Fire Management that kind of gives a framework to an existing process. This IGA is uniform and is going to all of the counties in the state. The primary purpose of the IGA is to make us eligible for reimbursements through the fire management assistance grants through FEMA during a wildfire. So if the county is supporting in any way, shape, or form, whether it be through evacuations, notification, actual wildfire response, we are eligible for reimbursement for those services provided. A couple other highlights from this agreement is that DFFM will support in wildfire, not only surrounding Gila County, but wildfire that originates on county land, and can also support all risk emergencies. This is kind of the catch-all part for any sort of those interesting emergencies that we have that don't really fall into a black and white area that we've had in the past, that they may also support with those as well. They will also support with providing training and technical assistance. And this process will go through the EOC. So what that means is during a wildfire or any emergency response, if we have a resource that we need through DFFM, we can request that through the Emergency Operations Center through the 213 resource request process that has been used in the past. And also the same route for if DFFM is requesting assistance from Gila County, we can provide that assistance now with the framework established that allows us to be reimbursed for that assistance. With that, short and sweet, I'm done. So any questions for me?
Okay, thank you. Supervisor Humphrey.
Yeah, who initiated this IGA?
This was initiated by DFFM.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah, no, thank you very much for all you do for emergency services, Carl.
Of course, thank you.
Supervisor Klein.
Carl, thanks, and extend my thanks to DFFM. I see it as a good thing. I just hope we never have to use it.
This is wood, right? I can knock on this? Okay.
Yeah, that's wood. So, Carl, how's DFFM looking after the budget crisis the state is going through? They still got money?
Well, the money specifically outlined in this IGA would come from a fire management assistance grant, but I mean, like a lot of government response agencies, they will continue to move on regardless of the challenges that they face. But of course, financial challenges have impacted them. They've also impacted emergency management on a large scale throughout the state. But they're getting by as we are.
Thank you, Carl. Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, in the state budget for this year, it did include about $35 million for a little bit more closely or clearly defined programs and projects related to what DFFM does. So there is money in the budget actually this year even amidst the state's financial woes. There's money for projects, so.
Okay, thank you for that. All right, if there's nothing else, I'll call for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll make the motion to approve the Arizona Department of Forestry and Fire Management intergovernmental agreement as presented.
Mr. Chair, I'll second that.
Okay, a motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Thank you, Carl.
Thank you, Chairman, members of the board.
Item 3O, information, discussion, action to approve modification number 002, the Forest Service Agreement number 22-RO-11031200-232, extending the expiration date from September 21st, 2024 to September 21st, 2025, and updating Forest Service Program Manager from Corey Brunsting to Michelle Tom, and updating Forest Service Administrative Contract from Brian Sprague to John B. Chang. Tom.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and board members. So this is a time extension only. There's no money associated with this. We have a cooperative agreement with the Tonto National Forest to design and pave 1.3 miles of control road. So this will extend the contract time that expires September 21st, 2024, and it will extend it to September 21st, 2025, and then it will also update the Tonto contact persons that were just mentioned. So I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Tom. Supervisor Humphrey.
I have no questions.
Supervisor Klein.
Tom, were they anticipating a run out of time then on that project? Need a little extra time? Is that what it is?
It is. We just need a little extra time, make sure we're ready to advertise for construction, which I'll bring up here shortly in another item. But yeah, just make sure we can get it all done within the time frame.
Okay, thank you.
And Tom, this is the portion that's near Whispering Pines.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you. And with that, I'll call for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve modification number 002 to Forest Service Agreement number 22-R0-11031200-232 as presented.
And I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Thank you, Tom. Item 3P is information, discussion, action to approve contract agreement number CTR 058876 with Kimley Horn and Associates to prepare environmental documents, including an environmental assessment and supporting technical documentation in an amount not to exceed $279,779, which will facilitate environmental clearance and satisfy the National Environmental Policy Act requirements. You're presenting, Tom?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you again. This is a request to approve a contract agreement with Kimley Horn and Associates to prepare environmental documents for 4 material pits that are located on the Tonto National Forest. It includes Braddock, Ramir, Castle Dome, and the 824. They're kind of spread out around the county. The Forest Service is pitching in $165,000. The county would have to pitch in approximately $113,000. The total amount is $279,000. So this is a request to approve that contract.
Okay, thank you. Supervisor Humphrey.
Yeah, no, I appreciate working with them and the Forest Service working with us to get those material pits to help with all our roads. That's good. Thank you, Tom.
Thank you. And Supervisor Klein.
Tom, any estimation on how long that process is going to take for these pits?
It's about 520 calendar days.
Okay.
So there's quite a bit of work they have to do, but yeah, that's what they're estimating.
All right, thank you.
Yes, thank you, Tom. So with that, I'll call for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll make the motion to approve contract agreement number CTR 058876 with Kimley Horn and Associates Incorporated as presented.
Mr. Chair, I'll second that.
Motion to approve in second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. And we on to item 3Q, information, discussion, action to declare portion of Outlaw Lane not necessary for public use and direct staff to begin the process to extinguish a portion of Outlaw Lane as shown on Exhibit A. Good morning, Homero.
Good morning, Board. This item is about extinguishing an easement for a portion of Outlaw Lane that dead ends at Tonto Creek. Outlaw Lane was granted to Gila County as a county dirt road easement and is in the Gila County maintained road system. We maintain it today. You can see the map up on the screen. There's 5 parcels that are basically petitioning for that portion that's highlighted to be no longer maintained by the county. It will be a private egress easement that they will grant to each other, to their heirs and to their assigns in perpetuity. It would allow public emergency vehicles to enter that area as well. It would allow for whatever the state requires for utilities to be granted based on this easement. We have a sample agreement that was prepared by our county attorney, Jeff Dalton, previously, that we have shared with them that captures all of this. They would be responsible for the maintenance of the road and the liability of the road as well. And they've seen that type of a document. We haven't asked them to sign it yet. First, we would like to come and ask the board to declare a portion of Outlaw Lane not necessary for public use and direct staff to begin the process to extinguish a portion of Outlaw Lane as shown on the Exhibit A, which is on the screen right now.
Thank you, Mayor. Supervisor Humphrey.
Yeah, thank you, Homero, for working on this. I know it was kind of a can of worms, because then as people, if they decided to split some of that property, then there would have been no access for new owners or if it was to sell. So thank you very much for working on this to make it their responsibility as they go forward for easement and access. So thank you very much, Homero.
Supervisor Klein.
I'm good. Thank you, Homero.
Yes, thank you, Humero. With that, I'll call for motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to declare a portion of Outlaw Lane not necessary for public use and direct staff to begin the process to extinguish a portion of Outlaw Lane as shown on Exhibit A.
And Mr. Chair, I'll second that.
I have a motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Item 3R, information discussion action to approve amendment number 2 to contract number 051122, bulk fuel and lubricants with Synergy Petroleum LLC to extend the term of the contract for 1 additional year from July 19, 2024 to July 18, 2025 for the purchase of bulk fuel and lubricants for a not to exceed the amount of $1.2 million. Homero.
Thank you, Chairman. We do this every year. We didn't quite spend 1.2 million last year. We spent something like $850,000 on this contract. Nonetheless, we are asking for a total contract amount for the next fiscal cycle to be $1.2 million. They use an oil price information system that is a commodity price that used worldwide, and then they attach to it their cost to deliver, their profits, etc. On top of that, it remains the same from last year. And with that, we would like to ask you to extend the term of the contract for 1 additional year from July 19, 2024 to July 18, 2025 for the purchase of bulk fuel and lubricants for an amount not to exceed 1.2 million.
Very
Questions?
Good. Very good. Supervisor Humphrey.
I have no questions.
Supervisor Klein.
Homero, is this the last year on that contract, or?
I would have to check. I'm not certain. Normally they have a 3-year extensions, so we could have another year that we could use this contract.
I'm just curious. It seems like this was about the only company that even wanted to bid on it, so I'm just curious. Thanks.
Thank you, Homero. With that, I'll call for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll make the motion to approve amendment number 2 to contract number 051122 with Synergy Petroleum LLC as presented.
Mr. Chair, I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
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 Thank you.
Thank you. We have another one possibly for, it's going to be Tom, this one. 3S, information discussion action to authorize the advertisement for invitation for bid number 060424, the Control Road roadway improvements. Tom.
Thank you. This is the request to advertise for construction. This is Control Road in the Whispering Pines area, 1.3 miles. The Forest Service has contributed $2 million to this project, and the county will be have the administration of the construction project. So We just are requesting action to advertise at this point.
Okay, thank you. Supervisor Humphrey.
I have no questions.
Supervisor Klein.
Tom, are we still looking at getting this cinched down and getting it done this summer, or?
Yes, sir, we'd
Okay.
like to get it done this year, by
Okay.
the end of this summer.
Thank you, Tom.
Yes, thank you, Tom, and remind me where this money comes from.
It comes from the Tonto National Forest.
That's what I thought I remembered. Thank you very much. With that, I'll call for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to authorize the advertisement invitation for bid number 060424.
And I'll second that.
Motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Thank you, Tom. All right, so I will call for a motion. Item 3T is going to be call for a motion to recess as the Gila County Board of Supervisors and convene as the Gila County Flood Control District Board of Directors.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
I'll second that.
Those in favor say aye.
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 Thank you. We have information, discussion, action to temporarily assign delegation for floodplain administration to Civil Engineer Senior Alex Kendrick until the floodplain administrator flood control district position can be filled with a qualified candidate. Tom.
Thank you. So Dart was our floodplain administrator. He retired, and we need to appoint a temporary one. So this is a request to appoint Alex Kendrick as a temporary floodplain administrator for the county.
Thank you. Supervisor Humphrey.
I have no questions.
Supervisor Klein.
Is Dard's position out on the street now, Tom?
It's been out for about a month now.
Okay. Thank you.
And thank you. With that, I'll call for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to temporarily assign delegation for floodplain administration to Civil Engineer Senior Alex Kendrick until the floodplain administrator flood control district position can be filled with a qualified candidate.
And I'll second that, Mr. Chair.
Motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Thank you, Tom. And with that, I will call for a motion to adjourn as the Gila County Flood Control District Board of Directors and reconvene as the Board of Supervisors.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
I'll second that.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Item 3U, information, discussion, action to approve amendment number 4 to contract number CTR 050894 with Janiserve Incorporated to extend the contract for an additional year for the term of July 1, 2024 to June 30, 2025, and increase the contract amount to $276,148.10 to provide janitorial services for both the southern and northern regions of Gila County. Good morning.
Good morning.
We have Melissa.
Good morning, Chairman, Board of Supervisors. I'm presenting the amendment number 4 to state contract CTR 050894 with Janiserve for janitorial services for both southern and northern regions of Gila County. This amendment extends the contract term for an additional year. Additionally, it increases the contract amount by $16,584.11, bringing the total to $276,148.10. This adjustment accounts for the 1.5% CPI increase for the year 2025. Facilities and Land Management Department and staff recommends that the Board of Supervisors approve amendment number 4 to contract CTR 050894 with Janiserve. The extension will cover the period from July 1, 2024 to June 30th, 2025, and will provide janitorial services for both southern and northern Gila County. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Oh, thank you. Supervisor Humphrey.
Just one question. When will this come back up for bid? Do we bid that
I
out?
believe we have one more year.
Okay.
I can verify and get back to you on that.
Okay, yeah, I was just wondering with an increase, we may get more interest in it, so. Okay, thank you very much. No further questions, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you. Supervisor Klein.
I think I'm good. Thank you, Melissa.
I have one question. So who, and you may not be able to answer this, so who holds this firm accountable for the quality of work that they do or don't do?
That would be facilities, yes.
Okay. So facilities inspects to make sure that they're doing they're cleaning. They're not just in and out in 1 minute.
Yes, we do.
That sort of, right?
Sure.
I'm not trying to be antagonistic. I'm just saying, I have heard people say some things are not cleaned at a level they should be.
Sure, sure. Chairman, supervisors, with that, we always have a quality control connection with the contractor. We do that through consistent meetings and also providing them feedback when we get feedback from the customer. So as an example, if one of the facilities, say TCM, was not getting the service we need, say it's not getting mopped properly, we identify that, see if it's something that's just an outlier or consistent, and then we work with the contractor to rectify it or fix it.
Okay, so if something is observed, they would report to you or to facilities?
To
local?
All the same, yes, sir.
Okay, all right, great. That's all I have, so I'll call for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve amendment number 4 to contract number CTR 050894 with Janiserve Incorporated as presented.
Mr. Chair, I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next we have item 3V. You're right, we made it through this in record time. Got almost a whole alphabet in there. And the shorter the agenda, the more dangerous. So item 3V, information, discussion, action to approve the U.S. Department of Agriculture Forest Service special use permit regarding the Crouch Mesa radio tower site with the Tonto National Forest, Young, Arizona, for the purpose of providing a better communication system. Supervisor Klein.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So this is, just to bring everybody up to date on this one, this is a tower that sits just on the east side of Pleasant Valley up on top of a mountain right there. And really what it was a microwave tower that was tied into the vet center when it was an admin site for telephone services to Time and Point, and then it went on from there. Anyway, during all the change and when everybody vacated that site, or that admin site, that became no longer needed for the Forest Service. So in 2019, Tim Scott came to me and had an interest from the Sheriff's Office side to get a hold of that tower. So they could put additional repeater on there for better coverage, you know, and so forth. It's not a big tower, it's only about 20 feet tall. Really good place though. And so we started the process back then looking into getting a special use permit from the Forest Service to use that tower. And the Forest Service doesn't want it. They didn't want it, but because it was really, really low on their priority list, that process just sat stagnant for all these years. And we'd put in again, they'd lose the application, and we'd go back and forth. Anyway, finally, they've gotten a permit together to do that. I have 3 entities right now that are interested in this tower. Sheriff's Office being the first, the local fire department being the second, and then local emergency ham radio group being a third. And that's the progress I told them we'd follow to see what we could put on that tower. So with that, the Sheriff's Office has been notified that they can start taking a look at it and see what it's going to take. There's no electric power. It just sits there on the mountaintop by itself. So whatever they run would have to be off of a solar panel, and that's what the feds did back quite a while back. So it should provide a lot of extra coverage for the fire department and the Sheriff's Office, and then also provide some coverage for that emergency ham group. That I take any questions.
Okay, Supervisor.
Yeah, just one. Will that availability be a lease or donation to these people that want to use?
Well, I think that would be up to us, however we wanted to do that. But, you know, Sheriff's Office, Fire Department, emergency ham group can go either way. But we're not going to have anything as far as costs associated with this tower at all. And I believe it'll fall under the facilities side of things is what it'll fall into. So does that help?
Yeah, that's fine. That's an unknown answer at this time. It's just getting agreement with the Forest Service.
Right.
So, thank you. Asked and answered. Thank you, Mr. Chair. That's all I have.
Okay, I don't really have any questions, so with that, I'll call for a motion.
Okay, so I'll make the motion to approve the U.S. Department of Agriculture Forest Service special use permit regarding the Crouch Mesa radio tower site with the Tonto National Forest in Young.
Mr. Chair, I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. We're on to item 4, consent agenda action items. Supervisor Humphrey, would you like to remove all, not all, any or a few or whatever you want from items 4A through I?
I am fine the way it is, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'm trying to get my words out. I'll ask you the same question.
Speed this up, huh?
Yeah.
I'm good, thank you.
Okay, so then I'll call for a motion on items 4A through I.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve consent agenda items 4A through 4I.
And I will second that.
And we have a motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Great. We're on to item number 5, which is a call to the public. And we always call this at the end of our meetings, so the public is able to address any things that they like to talk about, but we won't be able to discuss and vote on anything that's not specifically identified on the agenda. So I'll call for the public here in the Globe room. Anyone wish to speak? No? How about Payson?
No, sir.
And Cassandra, anyone there? How many do we have on the internet today? 32. Thank you very much. All right, I'll then move on to item number 6, and this will be our manager and supervisor's report. We'll start with Manager Manlove.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, thank you. Last Tuesday after our board meeting, did have a couple of conversations with Patty Power from Washington, D.C. One of those was Tri-City Regional Sanitary District. Had a discussion about the needs that are ongoing there, and they're significant. But they are continuing to pursue and move forward with the Tri-City Regional Sanitary District. Secondly, we went out to Russell Road and didn't walk the whole 1.5 mile of that road that has been washed out, but did go see the results of the flooding from Telegraph Fire and the need for pushing that project forward. We do have a $1 million SMART grant from the state of Arizona to do design and engineering for redevelopment of the Russell Road. So that's a great thing, good start for us that we've been able to secure that funding from the state of Arizona. And then finally, as copper is so important to the county and region, we didn't go down and went up to Resolution Copper at Oak Flats and took a site visit to what's up there on top of where they're doing their mining operations and didn't go down into the mine because they're not doing tours right now, but it's impressive and quite the operation to gain a better understanding of what it takes and what it actually is going to entail with that. Finally, yesterday, Ms. Belling and I were on KMOG radio up in Payson, and I believe had a good visit there talking about the budget for fiscal year 24-25. That's my report, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And with Supervisor Humphrey.
Attended a District 2 project team meeting on the 26th. Attended a candidate forum on June 26th. Was on Kiko on July 1st, 9:30 in the morning. We'll hold a Tonto Basin community meeting tonight at 5. Also was at a Central Arizona government meeting who is working as a go-between with ADEQ on the plant for Tri-City on public awareness. And that's just CAG making people aware of the plant and the design of the plant, the location of the plant, and things of that nature. And it went a little bit south with people wanting questions from Tri-City, and that wasn't the purpose of the meeting. The purpose of the meeting was just public awareness for the plant itself, none of the functions of Tri-City. And also too, staff will hold a meeting tonight because I've already scheduled it monthly, my Tonto Basin meeting, for the Gila Road, to update because this is the earliest that we could have done it. I had an earlier meeting, with the residents of Gila when, the road and the double chip seal that we subcontracted Cactus for, it failed miserably. And so it's been a real difficult situation since then. And so I noticed that Homero was really diligently on his deal, so I'm sure we're still working out things for the meeting tonight. And so if I can convince the people in Tonto Basin that I don't need to be there for the full meeting, I'm probably going to run out of that and try to meet with staff in the Gila meeting this evening. And other than that, that's about all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor. Supervisor Klein, sorry.
So I've been talking about that PSPS project with APS. And I've been working with the Forest Service and APS to try and mitigate that power shutoff. And so on the 26th, me and APS, the Forest Service didn't go with us because they couldn't get their prior approvals. But anyway, we flew the Preacher Canyon leg. It's Preacher 6, I think is what they called it. And we flew that line and videoed that line in the places that were the worst, well, not the worst, but that needed the attention the most, I should say. The APS, you guys can all visualize a power line. Well, APS's right of way is 10 feet from the center of that power line each way. That's all they got, 20-foot wide power line. So that's less than the width of this room down through there. Well, that's fine, except your trees are 120, 150 feet high above that, and so they're well within range of hitting that power line. And so what their biggest issue is where access is the worst, that's where they really want to get in and try and work and mitigate those right-of-ways. Meaning they want to make sure their 20 feet is clean, but then any problem trees outside of that, they want to take them down. And I want them to. That'd be a good lick. So there was some access that went to parts of that line that had apparently washed out in the last, I don't know how many years, and nobody took really the initiative or whatever to go back and fix it. So when we got done with the flight, we took pictures of all that, got done with the flight and sat back down and visited with the Forest Service. And it looks like what's going to happen first is they're going to be able to go back in and reopen those routes into their power lines where they need it the worst, and then start working on their right-of-ways and some of those trees outside that right-of-way. So I guess in a short way of saying it, I think we're making progress. One of the benefits right now is we have everybody that's involved in this process has a need for it to happen. The Forest Service has a lot of projects along that power line that they can't pull off because they can't secure the power line. So they don't even want to address it. APS has that power shutoff deal that they don't really want to do. They want to keep the power on and keep making money. And then I'm sitting there with a whole bunch of people that don't want to see that power shut off either. And so I think with that involved, I'm hoping that there's a way everybody's going to come to the table and work through any issues that there may be. And I can tell you one issue already is the threatened and endangered species timeframes, the Mexican spotted owl. They can't get in there and do anything in some of those areas until September 1st. And so they're going to have that to deal with, but that's a doable problem. It can happen. So I'm really hoping that's going to play out and it's going to work. I don't know that we'll ever get away from the threat of them flipping a switch, but if we can lessen it, that'll be huge. And then on the 26th, I as well as Tim and Kelly's here with us today, we were all in that candidate forum, and I thought that was a good deal. They put on a good deal there for that candidate forum. A lot going on that night, but it was good. On the 27th, I attended a meeting in Round Valley and met with some folks in Christopher Creek. and met with Public Works staff in Round Valley as well. And what it is there's a couple roads right there in the middle of Lower Round Valley that we're looking to take over maintenance on. So we're going over that, getting all that lined out, and hopefully that'll work out and come in front of us as a board to deal with that. Then that evening, we attended the Wagon Wheel Fire Department meeting in Whispering Pines. That was real interesting. We sat there and listened to their budgets and everything else. They have a new chief who's very active and seems to be doing a very good job. You know him, don't you?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. And so I was glad to be there that night and visit those folks as well. And then on the 3rd, which is tomorrow, I'll be attending the Cooper Valley Independence Day Liberty Dinner, the Knights of Columbus, and I'm supposed to speak about the Veterans Center in Young. They've asked me to come there and speak about that. So that's my schedule.
Okay, thank you. I don't have a lot to bring up today. I did listen to KMOG yesterday. I think James and Maron, you did an outstanding job presenting how money is taken in, how it's spent, the reserves that we have, and the conservative nature of our financial status. I believe Gila County is in great shape. We never have enough money, but we are using very sound judgment in our finances. And so I appreciate all that you go through to manage that. And Maron, I don't know honestly how you manage the magnitude of finances that are involved here, but I thank you very much because you do a great job. And I think the 4th of July is coming up, so I wish everyone to have a good day there, be safe. If I do my calculations right, it should be 248 years since we wrote that document. So I remember when it was 200. The bicentennial, and now it's coming up on 250. So, but I'm not getting any older. That's all I have. If there's nothing else, I'll adjourn the meeting. Thank you.